हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, वेलकम टू माय चैनल ओमनी ज्ञान। मेरे चैनल ओमनी ज्ञान में आप सब लोगों का फिर से बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। सो सम स्टूडेंट्स वे आर रिक्वेस्टिंग मी टू मेक अ फुल एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ द स्टोरी द मंकी's paw, which is in the syllabus of class 10 English. Now those who are new to the channel, they may not know that I have already uploaded an animated video of the monkey's paw, which is divided into three parts. Okay, it is divided into three parts. You can watch that video also. Actually, some students were requesting me to make a plain explanation, the way I make actually. All right, and that is why I'm bringing this video for all of you today. Okay, so let's start with the story, full explanation of the story. Now if you look at your textbook, you will see that there are three parts of the story: 1, 2 and 3. All right, now here I have explained only part 1. 2 and 3 I will be making in the next video. ठीक है, तो मैं यहाँ पे सिर्फ part 1 explain कर रहा हूँ. 2 और 3 मैं next video में लाऊंगा, and that will be the final part. Okay, part 2 and 3 will be the final part. So let's start with part 1 today. ठीक है. Okay, so part 1 here you see that the story begins with Mr. White and his son Herbert playing a game of chess. So father and son, Mr. White and his son Herbert. Okay, the name of his son is his name is Herbert. Okay, and father and son, they are playing a game of chess. And where are they playing the game of chess? They are playing the game of chess in their sitting room in a place called Laburnum Villa. Okay, so there is a place called Laburnum Villa, and father and son, they are playing the chess in their sitting room. Okay, it was a very cold night. Curtains were drawn and the fire burned in the fireplace. Okay, so explanation is quite easy here. It's a very cold, chilling night. Okay, घर के जो पर्दे हैं, the curtains were drawn. Okay, पर्दे जो है वो बिल्कुल ढका हुआ है खिड़की, and the fire is burning in the fireplace, and father and son is playing a game of chess. Suddenly Mr. White shouted, "Hark at the wind!" Actually he was blaming the rough wind which was blowing outside. तो बाहर बहुत तेज हवा चल रहा था. It was a very rough wind. So suddenly Mr. White became very angry and he shouted, okay, "Hark at the wind!" Okay, he was cursing actually the wind. Okay, कि बाहर कितना खराब wind चल रहा है. Actually the reason is not because Mr. White is angry with the wind. This is not the reason. Actually what the actual reason is that the wind outside was not the reason for Mr. White's anger. तो बाहर जो तेज हवा चल रहा था वो मिस्टर वाइट को गुस्सा नहीं दिला रहा था. दैट वॉज नॉट मेकिंग मिस्टर वाइट एंग्री. मिस्टर वाइट वॉज एंग्री वाई, यू सी, एंड इट्स वेरी फनी ऑल्सो. ही वॉज एंग्री बिकॉज ही गेव अ रॉन्ग मूव इन द गेम ऑफ चेस. सो ऑल ऑफ यू नो what is chess, right? Many of you might have played chess also. Nowadays chess is available in mobile phones also, in computers also. Anyways, so this Mr. White, the father, he gave a wrong move in the game of chess, and now he was on the verge of losing. वो हारने के बिल्कुल स्टेज पे था क्योंकि उसने एक रॉन्ग गलत चाल चल दिया था, एंड वो विंड के ऊपर वो एंग्री होने लगा. ही स्टार्टेड बिकमिंग एंग्री ऑन द विंड जस्ट बिकॉज ही वांटेड टू प्रिवेंट हिज सन फ्रॉम सीइंग दैट मिस्टेक. वो जो गलत मूव उसने दे दिया, द रॉन्ग मूव दैट ही गेव, ही डिड नॉट वांटेड हिज सन टू सी दैट wrong move, so he wanted to divert his attention to the wind actually. ठीक है, तो बहुत चालाक है. You see, Mr. White is very clever also, that he did not wanted to see his son about the mistake. Okay, the mistake that he had committed by giving that wrong move. Okay, so he shouted at the wind. But obviously Herbert is a very clever boy and he saw the mistake and he took advantage of the mistake also. So taking advantage of the mistake, he defeated his father with the final check and mate. तो आपको पता है check and mate क्या होता है? Check and mate is when finally the queen is blocked, okay, from all the sides, and the queen has nowhere to go now, no moves to be given from the opponent side. So that is called check and mate. So Herbert gave that check and mate, final check and mate, and father lost the game of chess. Now Mr. White became angrier. वो और ज़्यादा गुस्सा हो गया. क्यों गुस्सा हो गया? You see, out of frustration because he lost the game, no, and father is defeated by son. बाप जो है वो बेटे से हार गया. तो Mr. White obviously did not feel it good. So out of frustration, Mr. White blamed the location of their house. Now you see, first of all he blamed the wind blowing outside. Okay, first of all he blamed the wind blowing outside. right? Now he is blaming the location of their house, which was in the outskirts of the city. Now he was blaming the location of the house. He said that our house is situated in such a place where there are only two houses just near us. Okay, it is situated on the outskirts of the city. Road conditions are not good, this and that. So he started now blaming the location of their house. Okay, but his actual reason is what? His actual reason is the actual reason of his anger is because he was defeated by his son, क्योंकि वो उसके बेटे ने उसको हरा दिया था. ये था एक्चुअल रीजन, ठीक है. बट एनीवेज ही वाज फ्रस्ट्रेटेड. मिस्टर वाइट वाज मिस्टर वाइट वाज वेरी एंग्री एंड फ्रस्ट्रेटेड. नाउ हिज वाइफ मिसेस वाइट, ओके, दे आर ओल्ड कपल्स. ओके, वो बूढ़े माँ बाप है. हर्बर्ट इज़ अ वेरी यंग सन. वो काम करता है बाहर. ही वर्क्स इन अ कंपनी ऑल्सो आउटसाइड. दैट विल बी डिस्कस्ड इन पार्ट 2 ऑफ द वीडियो, पार्ट 2 and part 3. Anyways, so Mrs. White understood the main reason that my husband Mr. White is angry, not because of the location of the house, not because of the wind blowing outside, but he is angry because he has lost the game of chess from Herbert, okay, their son. So Mrs. White understood the reason and consoled him that he would surely win the next game. So Mrs. White obviously understood, and Mrs. White was knitting sweater actually, okay, like all mothers do when they sit at home during winter season. So it was cold also outside. So Mrs. White was sitting by the fireplace, and she told her husband Mr. White that, "Arey, don't worry, dear, you will definitely win the next game of chess. Why do you worry, and why do you become angry? You just lost, from your son only. He is your son." So Mr. White immediately felt guilty of having behaved in such a manner, that he was shouting at the wind, that he was angry because of the location of their house. And when Mrs. White, his wife, consoled him that don't worry, you will win the next game of chess, so Mr. White felt little guilty of having behaved in such a manner, okay, because after all Herbert was his son. So getting defeated from son is okay, right? So Mr. White realized the mistake actually, okay. Now suddenly what happened, they heard footsteps approaching towards their door. तो सडनली उन सब ने सुना जूते की आवाज़, पैरों की आवाज़, फुटस्टेप्स जो उनके दरवाजे की तरफ आ रहा था. दैट मीन्स समबडी was coming, and the white family, ये जो white family है, they were actually expecting somebody. वो लोग किसी को expect कर रहे थे, ठीक है. It is not a surprise visit, it was an expected visit, okay. So somebody had come. Now who had come? A long time friend of Mr. White had come to their house. His name is Sergeant Major Morris. So एक बहुत पुराना दोस्त है Mr. White के, जिनका नाम है Sergeant Major Morris. He was a soldier actually. He has come to Mr. White's house, okay, to visit Mr. White and his family. Okay, remember the name, Sergeant Major Morris. Okay, Sergeant Major and Morris is his name. This is the rank actually. Sergeant Major is the rank and Morris is the name. Let's move on. They started having drinks. So it was cold, and it is quite usual in foreign countries actually, in cold countries, to have drinks, okay. So they started having drinks, and after a couple of drinks, that means they took 2 drinks, and on the 3rd drink actually Morris started sharing his experience as a soldier. So now Morris started, Mr. White, Mrs. White, they asked, so please share your experience as a soldier. You might have visited so many places. Then Morris started sharing his experiences as a soldier, of the places that he had visited all throughout his career, the people he met, okay, the difficulties that he had encountered, like wars, plagues, all kinds of diseases, all kinds of difficulties, etc. So these were the experiences that Morris started sharing with the White family, ठीक है. तो ये वो experiences हैं जो Morris White family के साथ share कर रहा है, ठीक है, कि कौन कौन से जगह पे वो पोस्टेड था, कैसे कैसे लोगों से वो मीट करता था, कौन कौन सा डिफ़िकल्टीज उन्होंने फेस किया, जैसे युद्ध, वार्स, प्लेग्स, बहुत तरीके के जो है डिजीजेज होते थे, ठीक है. तो ये एक्सपीरियंसेस, एंड यू सी दैट दे वर मीटिंग आफ्टर 21 years. सो मॉरिस एंड Mr. White actually, they were very long time friends, and they were meeting after 21 years. It's such a long time, right? Mr. White then expressed his wish to visit India one day. So he wished to see old temples, fakirs, jugglers in India. So Mr. White, ऐसे बातों बातों में, while talking, Mr. White suddenly expressed that I also want to go to India one day. I want to see the temples, the fakirs. Okay, fakirs are like kind of people who actually do black magic kind of thing. Okay, वो लोग कुछ ब्लैक मैजिक वगैरह करते हैं फकीर्स. कुछ फकीर्स ऐसे भी होते हैं. सम फकीर्स आर लाइक दे सेल herbs and medicines also. Okay, herbs and medicines, and it is found all over in India. Okay, especially villages. So fakirs, jugglers, you'll get jugglers in circus. Okay, like they play with balls, 4, 5, 6, 7 balls in their hands. They'll toss the balls, okay, one by one. Okay, so Mr. White said that I wish to visit India one day. But immediately after hearing this, Morris warned him that better you stay where you are. So better where you are. No need to come to India. You are very good in your place. So better stay where you are right now. You're very good. You're doing very good. No need to come to India. Then White obviously was suddenly taken little, he was little surprised. Why is Morris warning me in this way not to come to India? India is a very good place. Okay. But the reason is something else. Okay. Then Mr. White asked Morris that, Morris, you were talking about a monkey's paw the other day. Alright. Maybe if they're meeting after 21 years, that means maybe they had a telephonic conversation or something like that. Okay. So Mr. White said that, Morris, you talked about a monkey's paw, that you have a monkey's paw or something like that. You were telling the other day. Now Morris wanted to avoid the question. So he replied, no, nothing. Actually, he has a monkey's paw. Morris has a monkey's paw, but he did not wanted to share about the monkey's paw, the details of the monkey's paw with anybody. Not only White, but with anybody. And there's a specific reason to this. Though I'm dealing with part 1 of the story right now, but in part 2 and part 3, you'll understand that why Morris did not wanted to avoid the question, wanted to avoid being talked about monkey's paw. वो monkey's paw का question जब भी उठता है तो Morris जो है उसको avoid करने की कोशिश करता है. But Mrs. White, you see, she was little curious to know about it. So Mrs. White also asked, he says, what is that monkey's paw? So very casually, not formally, okay, very casually, Morris said, no, it's just a bit of a magic, and actually that monkey's paw was dried to a mummy. Mummy, I think, that, dead bodies were wrapped with clothes and some kind of medicines, chemicals were, smeared, put on the body to preserve the dead bodies, okay. You know that in Egypt, Cairo, that pyramid, all of you know, I think, okay. Their mummies were kept. Okay, so here you see Morris said very casually that no, it's a bit of a magic, and that that paw has been, like, it was dried and it was mummified. Mummified मतलब उसको कपड़े से रैप करके कुछ केमिकल लगा के उसको जो है, it was dried to a mummy. Now the White family became more curious to know about it. तो White family और ज़्यादा curious हो गया. Why they became curious? After hearing the word magic. Now these are lines from your textbook. Okay, I have used direct lines from the textbook, quotations from the textbook itself, so as to help you little with your reference to the context also. So ये magic word सुन के, after hearing the word magic, the White family became more curious कि और बताइए क्या है magic, what is this? So ultimately Morris, he had to take out the monkey's paw from his pocket. Now when Morris took out the monkey's paw from his pocket, actually you see it is this monkey's paw had been cut off from a monkey's body, obviously, right? And it was dried. This monkey's paw was dried. It was mummified. It was dried. So when Morris took out the paw from his pocket, Mrs. White, she moved little back. Okay, it looked little dirty also, right? Paw which has been dried and kept in pocket, and Morris is taking out the dried paw out of the pocket. So Mrs. White was felt little dirty and moved little backside. Okay, so but Herbert took the monkey's paw in his hand. He held it. Okay, he was holding it and he started examining the paw. Okay, आगे पीछे जो है Herbert उसको घुमा के देख रहा था. Okay, अब क्या होता है देखिए. When Mr. White asks what is special about it, now here comes the main question. कि ये monkey's paw तुमने कहा कि you said that it is bit of a magic. What is special about the monkey's paw? Now Maurice replied that the paw had a spell. Spell मतलब एक magical, some magical words, okay, some magical words put on the paw by an old fakir. Fakir again from India only, okay, kind of a black. Fakirs are generally considered to be black magicians actually. All right. Anyways, so this paw had a spell put on by an old fakir. Now why did this fakir put a spell on the monkey's paw? ये magical words, ये magical ये सब चीज़ें जो है फकीर ने क्यों इस monkey's paw पे डाला? Actually this fakir wanted to show that no one could interfere with fate, and if anyone dared to interfere with fate, they would face sorrow in their life. So fakir, ये जो spell है, the spell that the fakir had put on the monkey's paw, it is because that this fakir wanted to prove that nobody can interfere with fate. Whatever is there in your fate, आपके भाग्य में जो लिखा हुआ है उसके साथ कोई छेड़खानी नहीं कर सकता. I think you have seen the movie Krish 2 I think. वहाँ पे क्या होता है कि एक बड़ा सा स्क्रीन होता है जो देख के यू नो आफ्टर सीइंग दैट स्क्रीन दैट विलेन कुड सी हिज फ्यूचर, एंड इफ his ideology was that if I can see my future then I can know that when I will die, मैं कब मरूंगा ये इसको मैं पता लगा सकता हूँ, and the date, the time when I would die, I can change that if I see my future beforehand. अगर मैं पहले से अपना फ्यूचर देख लूँ कि मैं कब मरने वाला हूँ, कैसे मरने वाला हूँ, कहाँ मरने वाला हूँ, किस टाइम पे मरने वाला हूँ, तो मैं प्रिपेयर्ड हो सकता हूँ और मैं चेंज कर सकता हूँ उस चीज़ को. बट दिस इज़ नॉट पॉसिबल स्टूडेंट्स, ये कभी भी पॉसिबल नहीं हो सकता. ठीक है, अगर ऐसा हुआ होता तो डिजास्टर हो जाता. ओके, द वर्ल्ड वुड हैव बीन डिस्ट्रॉयड बिकॉज दिस इज नेचुरल. यू सी, आवर लाइफ इज नेचुरल. वी आर born, we live, we die at a specific period of time. Okay, when we die, that is also 50-50. Nobody knows that thing. So that is fate actually, and no one can interfere with fate. And this story is a great example that nobody can interfere with fate. And if you dare interfere with fate, अगर आपने भाग्य के साथ छेड़खानी किया तो आपके साथ बहुत बुरा हो सकता है. होगा बुरा, बुरा हो नहीं सकता, बुरा होगा. It very bad will happen with you. Alright, I hope you have understood this thing. So this fakir actually wanted to prove this thing only. Anyways, the spell, now there is a special, Mr. White asks this question, what is special about it? Now the speciality of this monkey's paw is that the spell put by the fakir was that the monkey's paw could grant 3 wishes to 3 separate persons. तो ये है ये spell, this magic, about the magical thing about this monkey's paw is that the monkey's paw could grant 3 wishes. ये 3 wish grant कर सकता है to 3 different persons, to 3 separate persons. हालांकि in the story you see this 3 separate person thing concept is not clear actually, because in the story it is only Mr. White who asks the wish. They are 3 people, right? Mr. White, Mrs. White and Herbert, their son. But it is only Mr. White who goes for the 3 wishes. What are the wishes that we will learn later, but here you see this concept is not little clear. Anyways, this was the concept of the fakir. Actually he put this spell on the monkey's paw that it could grant 3 wishes to 3 separate persons. यहाँ पे आप देखिए कि Herbert asked Maurice why he did not have the 3 wishes. तो Herbert ने Maurice से पूछा कि क्या तुमने 3 विश नहीं किया? Haven't you gone for 3 wishes? Maurice replied but with horror. एकदम चेहरे पे जो है उसका फेस पूरा येलो हो गया. His face became pale, okay, whitish. And Maurice replied that yes, I had already asked for 3 wishes and all my 3 wishes were granted. लेकिन वो बिल्कुल मुंह लटका के बोल रहा था. He was not happy when he said that yes, my 3 wishes were granted. He was not happy when he said this. Okay, वो बिल्कुल बहुत हॉरिफाइंग चेहरा लेके उसने ये बात कहा. Then Mrs. White asked Maurice if the monkey's paw had granted any other person's wish. तो Mrs. White asked that Mr. Maurice, had this monkey's paw ever granted any other person's wish? किसी और इंसान का wish क्या इस monkey's paw ने fulfill किया? तो Maurice इस बात पे, and this is very important, please pay attention to this, dear students. To this Maurice replied that he is not aware if the first 2 wishes were granted but the 3rd wish was for death. तो Maurice ने कहा कि पहला 2 विश तो मुझे पता नहीं, ठीक है, लेकिन तीसरा विश जो उस आदमी ने मांगा था, दैट विश वॉज फॉर डेथ, एंड मॉरिस गॉट द पॉ आफ्टर द मैंस डेथ. तो मॉरिस को वो मंकीज पॉ मिला कब? जब वो आदमी तीसरा विश मांग के मर गया. ऑलराइट, okay, is this concept clear? Let me just clarify it once more to you. Okay, when Mrs. White asked that whether this monkey's paw had granted wish to any other person also, Morris replied that yes, it has granted 3 wishes to somebody else also, but I do not know about the first 2 wish. पहला 2 wish मुझे पता नहीं, but the third wish, this third wish was for death. And after the death of this man, I got the monkey's paw. ठीक है. Now, Mr. White wished to take the paw from Morris. Obviously, Mr. White became very interested. Okay, very curious, very interested, very excited, and he wanted to take the paw from Morris. So he asked him immediately and indirectly that since all his wishes were granted, so why he was still keeping the paw with him. ओके, सो मिस्टर वाइट ने बहुत चालाकी करके जो है मॉरिस से ये पूछा. मिस्टर वाइट आस्क्स वेरी क्लेवरली टू मॉरिस दैट मॉरिस, ऑल योर विशेस हैव बीन ग्रांटेड, नो, सो व्हाई आर यू स्टिल कीपिंग द पॉ विथ यू? गिव इट टू मी, आई विल टेक इट, आई कैन यूज इट, नो, माई फॉर माई सेल्फ ऑल्सो एंड फॉर माई फैमिली. नाउ मॉरिस रिप्लाइड दैट ही वांटेड टू सेल द पॉ. Okay, Morris replied that he wanted to sell the paw, but he was afraid because the paw had already done enough damage to people's lives. Morris का ये रिप्लाई था कि मैं ये ये जो मंकीज पॉ है, मैंने बहुत सोचा कि मैं इसको बेच दूँ. I had thought that I would sell the monkey's paw, but this monkey's paw had done so much damage to people's lives that I never, I never wanted to sell it. I kept it with me. And Morris suggested Mr. White that you also don't keep this monkey's paw with you. Okay, and you see another reason that Morris gave was that people do not believe the tale of monkey's paw because they think it is a fairy tale or false stories. You know, fairy tale stories like Arabian Nights. There's an example of Arabian Nights in the story also mentioned by Mrs. White. We'll come to that a little later. You know, you might have heard of Arabian Nights. All the stories are fairy tale stories. You know, carpets flying. Okay, genie appears. Then there are all magical things happening. In 21st century, nobody would believe in the monkey's paw. So that is what Morris said, that nobody would believe in the tale of the monkey's paw because this is modern world, okay, and people don't believe in fairy tale stories because fairy tale stories are indirectly, they are false stories. झूठी कहानियाँ होते हैं fairy tale stories. Where have you seen carpets flying? Have you ever seen, you know, any lamp? If you rub lamp, genie will come out and fulfill all your wishes. This will never happen in 21st century, right? It is the age of science and technology and all these things. So Morris suddenly threw the paw upon the fire. So Morris को suddenly क्या हो गया? Something happened to Morris, and he threw the monkey's paw, in the fire. And Mr. White became very agitated. Actually, he took out the monkey's paw from the fire and wanted to keep it. So the moment Morris threw the paw in the fire, Mr. White suddenly, out of shock, he said, "Arey, what are you doing, Morris?" And Mr. White took out the monkey's paw from the fire, and he said that I will keep the monkey's paw with me. If you don't want, you give it to me. Why are you throwing the paw? Why are you destroying the paw? If you don't want it, you give it to me. Okay, तुमको अगर नहीं चाहिए तो मुझको दे दो. तुम इसको क्यों destroy करना चाहते हो? Anyways, ultimately Morris had to give the monkey's paw to Mr. White, but he warned him that please, White, use the monkey's paw very wisely. It can cause enough damage in your life. Okay, so use the monkey's paw very, very, very wisely. But Mr. White was very, very excited and asked him that, how to use the monkey's paw? What is the method of using the monkey's paw? It will be using, okay. What is the method of using the monkey's paw? Okay, I mean, how to use the monkey's paw? How to ask wishes from the monkey's paw? So Morris told him that it's very simple. Just hold the paw up in your right hand and ask for the wish. तो अपना हाथ अपने right hand में ये monkey's paw को पकड़ो, अपने हाथ को ऊपर उठाओ, lift up your right hand, hold the monkey's paw and ask the wish whatever you want. Okay, and Morris left the place giving another warning. तो Morris चला गया वहाँ से, लेकिन जाने से पहले, before leaving, Morris gave another warning to Mr. White that White, whenever you ask for any wish, जब भी तुम कोई wish मांगो, बहुत sensible wish मांगना. This sensible word is there in your textbook also. Ask very sensible wish. Don't ask for any and everything. Think and ask. Okay, otherwise the monkey's paw will cause enough damage to you. Now, Mrs. White did not at all believe in the power of the paw and simply called it Arabian Nights. Arabian Nights, as I told you, it is a book of fairy tale stories, and fairy tale stories are false stories actually, those that never happen. So, Mrs. White actually, the wife actually, Mrs. White says that I don't believe in all these things, in the power of the monkey's paw and all these things. In this 21st century, no one would, there will be no such device that will grant wishes to you. This is modern world, right? And she also made fun of her husband too. Mrs. White actually made fun of her husband actually, Mr. White. Herbert also did not believe in the monkey's paw, but he was little curious though. Now, Herbert को भी actually monkey's paw पे इतना यकीन नहीं था, लेकिन वो थोड़ा सा curious था कि एक बार try करके देख लेते. Let's try once this monkey's paw. Let's try this monkey's paw once. He did not believe in the monkey's paw though, but he said that let's try once. Okay, and he also made fun of his father. वो भी अपने पिताजी का. Actually, both son and mother, they were making fun of Mr. White. Okay, both son and mother, they were making fun of Mr. White. Okay, now Herbert also made fun of his father, telling him that father, you can hold the monkey's paw and wish to be an emperor, so that mother does not command you anymore. So actually, there's a word in your textbook called henpecked. Henpecked, I'll tell you in Hindi, okay. Henpecked means joru ka gulam. Somebody, a husband who actually listens to his wife, whatever his wife says. If his wife says stand up, he'll stand up. If his wife says sit down, he'll sit down. These kind of husbands are called henpecked, joru ka gulam. Okay, जो wife कहता है वो सुनता है, वो सही हो गलत हो, और डरता भी है wife से, afraid of wife also. So Herbert, the son actually tells his father, Mr. White, that father, you wish to be an emperor. आप जो है बादशाह होने की wish कीजिए, so that mother does not order you anymore. No, you will no more be henpecked. आप जोरू का गुलाम बन के नहीं रहेंगे, क्योंकि मम्मी आपको बहुत डांटती है. Mother scolds you too much, so you wish to be an emperor. So Mr. White became ready to go for the wish, not that wish, not to be an emperor, but Mr. White became ready that okay, let's go for one wish. But he did not know what to wish for. Okay, उसे पता नहीं था कि क्या wish करे. So Herbert suggested him that father, why don't you wish for 200 pounds to clear off the mortgage amount of their house. Mortgage मतलब गिरवी रखना कोई चीज़, you keep, say for example, you have taken a loan. Okay, you have taken a loan from somebody, and that person says that I can give you the money, but you have to keep something as a mortgage to me. Mortgage मतलब गिरवी रखना. जैसे people keep their gold, then their jewelry. There are people who keep their house, okay, mortgage, okay, and take the amount. So their house was actually mortgaged, and they had taken 200 pounds. So they said that let's clear off the mortgage amount of their house. So go for 200 pounds. We need 200 pounds. So if we pay that money, our house, we will get back our house. I mean, we can clear off the mortgage of our house. Mr. White said, yes, that's a very good idea. Let's do that. So he held the monkey's paw in his hand, and Mr. White wished very loudly, I wish for 200 pounds. Okay, he wished very loudly. And then you see what happened. The paw fell from Mr. White's hand, and he felt that his hand was twisted. Now, the moment he asked this wish, that monkey's paw fell from the hand, fell from Mr. White's hand, and his hand got twisted. उसका हाथ जो है ऐसे ट्विस्ट हो गया, ठीक है. बट नो मनी केम फ्रॉम एनीवेयर. दे वेटेड फॉर सम टाइम्स, एंड बिफोर सेइंग गुड नाइट, हर्बर्ट जोक्ड, saying that the money will fall on Mr. White's bed in a big bag in the middle of the night. अब यहाँ मैं आपको थोड़ा सा एक चीज़ मैं यहाँ थोड़ा सा बता दूँ. I did not mention here, but let me just tell you. When the paw fell from when the paw fell from Mr. White's hand, Mr. White said, "Arey, my hand got twisted." But both Herbert and Mrs. White said, no, this is your imagination. Nothing happened. Okay, and they waited for some time, but no money came. They waited, and And before saying good night, actually, Herbert, before saying good night, Herbert joked saying that the money will fall on Mr. White's bed. So वो लोग वेट करते रहे, they kept waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and Herbert ने joke मारा एक, he joked telling his father that father, you see, at night the money will fall in your bed, and that too in a big bed. So in the middle of the night, in a very big bag, the money will fall on your bed, I'm sure. And Mr. White also felt very bad that I have become a fool. This Morris, he gave me a monkey's paw, telling all kinds of rubbish about magic and this and that, but ultimately nothing happened. So Herbert and Mrs. White, they went to sleep, but Mr. White was sitting alone for some times. Okay, he expected that I will get the money. So Mr. White sat for some times, and then he also went to sleep. He became very sad also. वो बिल्कुल बहुत उदास हो गया और वो सोने के लिए चला गया. इतना वेट किया, he waited for so long, but money did not come. So ultimately he felt that the monkey's paw is actually a fake one. ठीक है, तो कि ये monkey's paw बिल्कुल fake है, तो वो भी सोने के लिए चला गया. He also went to sleep. Alright, so part 1 I have completed here. Part 2, actually the story is very long and it will take a long time if I continue with part 2 and 3 also. So part 2 and 3 to be continued in the next video, and that will be the final part. Okay, and that animated video thing also I will link also I will give you in the description box if you want to watch that also. And I want to thank all the students. Actually the views in those 3 videos, actually animated videos on monkey's paw, was great. Actually around I think 13k views, 14k views have come there. Okay, so continue to give your love to my channel, to my videos. Okay, so part 2 and 3 of this simple explanation, plain explanation, I'll bring next time for all of you. Okay, so subscribe to the channel, like and share my videos with all your friends. And now, as all of you know, that I have started explanations on class 11 and class 12 also. Right now I am doing class 11 additional English, and after that I'll complete the rest of the syllabus. Notes also will be available on my channel, omnigyan.blogspot.com. I'm there on Facebook and Instagram also, and please follow me on my website also. Okay, omnigyan.blogspot.com. the link is in the description box below. You can simply go and follow me there, because whenever I upload any notes there, you will immediately get notification, and you can copy, paste or download whatever you can do. Okay, whatever you want to do. Okay, so that's all. With love from Omni Gyan, and all the best to all of you. Thank you so much.